What's good, YouTube, and welcome to the house. If you had any intention that this was a purposeful leak, there's downward sideways text with this one. This is on the official Yu-Gi-Oh! Konami blog, and we've got Isolde, Two Tales of the Noble Knights. Alright, Noble Knights have always been featured around kind of darkness and light, and that's what feels like is embodied in this card. You have the Ignoble Knights, speaking of a certain tuber, and then you've got the light side over here, and all in one card, Extreme Forces EN094. I have to give full credit to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Organization and their Discord. I would not have seen this without hanging in there. I woke up, I was trying to get some information for my next video, which we'll actually just talk about in this video. We'll make it one giant video. But after weighing this and seeing that it's an ultra rare, I've come to terms with Link Vrain's pack, and there's pros and cons to it not being its own set. Throughout my comment section it rang, smart business decision by Konami, sucks for the players. A lot of people are more upset that they're going to be spending more money on the cards they want. Rarely there's a set coming forward that we know we're going to spend our money on. Duelist Alliance, where we had the Shadows, the Burning Abyss, and the Satellar Knights. Three great archetypes, one TCG exclusive archetype that busted out. We knew we were getting Duelist Alliance. Then Bosch. A lot of players were deciding if they wanted to play that Tier 0 Pendulum Summoning format. I personally was a huge fan. I went out to the Bosch sneak peek. It was a very huge sneak peek, and I wanted to make sure I was getting what I needed for YCS Atlanta that year that I later bubbled. But it's definitely interesting to see this as an ultra rare, because anything besides Secret is likely to be 30 and below. Needle Fiber is the one that I could think would exclude that, but typically we see ultra rare sink all the way to $10 to $3 these days and lower. A good ultra rare is likely to sit around $10. This Noble Knight ultra rare, after pre-sales, after everything is said, is likely to sink towards $10 to $8, even though it's generic good warrior support. The Metal Foes being a secret rare, the Metal Foes Electrum, it's gonna be a lot more. It's gonna be probably a $50 card, if not, you know, it'll range 30 to 50 probably. It's really gonna be good for Pendulum Summoning. So the question here is, how many do we get? How fast do we get them for it to be a pro? It's likely we're gonna see all 10 slots, if not at least 8 slots of the OCG imports be Vrain's pack. I would think it's gonna be 10 slots here. They definitely are putting them at the higher rarity so far on the ones that have leaked, being secret and ultra. But that's actually not the worst thing, as long as most of them stay ultra to super. That would be ideal. Super rares would be awesome. I think a lot of people looked forward to Vrain's pack as that kind of pack they were gonna bust open. There was a bit of everything in there. You have all the way back to Ritual Beast, which a lot of people still have the deck core for. You had Burning Abyss, which so many people were looking forward to. It's kind of that deck that's lived long enough as the villain to become the hero. It started out as the hero, became the villain, then it became the hero again. Then you have, but things even like the Cleafort links. Cleaforts are a super budget deck. Demise Cleaforts have done something in the past, semi-recently in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Timeline, and people were looking forward to playing that again. I think it's perfectly fine for people to lament that they're going to be spending more money overall on the Vrain's pack cards. But at the same time, it's unlikely, being in core sets, that any of them will get short printed. So there's the first huge bonus, in that being in the sets themselves, it's highly likely we're going to have relatively easy access to all these cards. Now, a lot of people weren't expecting to spend money on Extreme Forces and were expecting to spend money on Link Vrain's pack. You can't take that money and just allocate it towards Extreme Forces, but you're probably not going to be pulling the same ratio that you wished for with Link Vrain's pack. There's also that. So there's a lot of pros and cons to both sides of it being in the core set for the players. But it's all right if you feel one way or another. I think it's an interesting conversation, and I personally feel like it's cool to get some of these early. There's another pro. It's cool to get some of these early, but at the same time, as a Pendulum Duelist, I'm going to lament Electrum being or Electrumite being a secret rare here. Now, in cool wallet news, we might touch back on this within this article, but on the coolant of the wallet news, they've been doing pretty darn good about giving us most of the cards in structure decks, have they not? There's only been 1 to 2 missing, it feels like, lately. And Grinder Golem is announced for Starter Deck 33. This is what I went into the organization Discord to originally talk about before I saw them post the link for the Ultra Rare Noble Knight. Grinder Golem, the reprint in Structure Deck 33. This is slated around mid-April from what I've been told. It was shown off at an event in London or somewhere about, and it was slated to be mid-April for us. Even though its product description is not up on the Yu-Gi-Oh website, it has been shown off, so it's highly likely that we could see Grinder Golem's reprint be in there. Konami Japan has actually promoted this card for link summoning. They've actually written articles on how to link summon with this card and tried to kind of show its degeneracy as a way to link summon. I'm kind of with Nim Nim on this card that it needs to be banned. It's actually just crazy once we get Security Dragon, but we don't have a Security Dragon yet. And by April or National Seasons, will we? Who knows? We have a lot of catch up. We have to play a lot of catch up with the OCG and their meta. And this is kind of the cards that was going to make Jax Knights really good. You're putting cards on their field, the Grinder Golem, you get to put the placement just like a Kaiju in order for your Jax Knights to get to pop off. And that was pretty darn cool. And but usually the placement also has to be right across from the extra monster zone, so you're kind of playing a placement battle with your own field. I really think the ceiling with Grinder Golem can be pretty cool, but at the same time, it's degenerate as all get out. The fact that there's an infinite loop still in the game with this card, Luna and Brilliant Fusion, that's insane to me. That's just really insane. So as long as your opponent's not playing Grinder Golem, that is, that actually stops the loop. That's kind of funny. But I think that it's cool to see it reprinted because they're likely wanting players to get use out of the craziness before they hit it. That's a very common thing, isn't it? That we see a reprint before something gets hit in some way, shape, or form. So it being in the structure deck, maybe we'll get to see it try to impact the national season and then get hit afterwards depending on its performance, or not hit afterwards. Do you think Grinder Golem's overhyped? Do you think it is just insane? Some other cool reprints from this are Reborn Tengu, that, you know, $2-ish card, and Debunk, a card that's always nice to see. I love seeing stable, cool tech cards like this get a reprint so that whenever they come around and get hyped for a format, they don't just skyrocket through the roof. It's really nice to have a common in everybody's back pocket that you can just keep if you're getting these structures. But touching on Grinder Golem's price and hype, it's still sitting up there at 1870. Just volleys of buyouts over and over have kept it up. People have valued this card. They're not letting it go for less, and you see the market price here is at 16, and then on eBay there's one at 15 and then one at 18. It's not the most wanted card out there, but at the same, because you see the quantities starting to stack up. There's actually multiple quantities here, although there's tokens. 34 results here. It used to be way lower. So people just kind of come to accept the price and held it at the price. It should be interesting to see what this OCG reprint does, or if people are just like, nah, that's a structure deck from the OCG. Don't let them fool you. Remember Link Phrase pack and how we didn't get the pack? Don't assume that we're gonna get Grinder Golem in the structure deck. I'm personally calling that it will be in there. We've seen misses like Maxi and Solemn Strike for certain structure decks before, but I don't see Grinder Golem being the miss here. I think if people want the card already, they would have paid more. And putting it in the structure deck to give access to everybody is something I think that will actually happen. And the generic link on the front of this pack is actually pretty good too. Yes, we finally get a code talker that is completely generic. So what do you guys think of the news today here with Grinder Golem, GG, hopefully not the card that's going to get me demonetized on YouTube, being a reprint here? It's kind of a fresh breath of air. Or you know what I'm saying. I think I said that right. But also, it's sold. Two Tales of the Noble Knights Ultra Rare leaking out here as well. Definitely leaking. There's no way this text is purposeful. And yeah, that's not Japanese or anything. It's just crazy. And when you highlight it, new things appear or go away. This is just insane. What do you guys make out of this happening with the Konami site too? Do you think it's a purposeful tactic to gauge a response, or do you think this is just the way they plan to do it? I personally don't. Still kind of have mixed feelings, but I'm weighing the pros and cons of it much more. Thanks for watching, everybody.